Okay, anyway, I'll wait for people to come on over here. If you could hit the like button as you join in, because sorry, it just, this has happened every single week now. It doesn't matter what country I'm in. For the last, I think, 3 weeks prior to this and today, I keep losing the stream like 5 minutes in, and then I have to redo a stream. I don't understand. It's completely different countries, different internet. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, welcome all back in. I'm not going to say hi again to everyone, but thank you all for joining back in. Yeah, so let's hope this holds. I knew it was going to be a problem because I was freezing a little bit, and then it comes up with a message on my screen that says your connection is unstable and like we're trying to reconnect, but it never reconnects. It never does. So keep your fingers crossed. Last week we had this problem, and the week before, and the second time I did it, it was fine. So let's hope. If not, I'll have to do a third stream. So anyway, yeah, just hit the like button as you join in. Thank you. I know, but it doesn't seem to matter what country I'm in or whatever. It just always does this. I don't know why. Anyway, okay. So, I was talking about the dentist. So I went to the dentist and they had a hard time determining what tooth it is. It's on the upper part over here, and I have 4 crown teeth in a row from the back towards the front. And so, they had a hard time figuring it out because the x-rays, when you have a crown on a tooth, they can't see it as well. Like they just have to look at the root and stuff. Well, she had to do like cold tests on it and tapping it and like all sorts of things. And it's still very tender up here in the gum, like just very tender to the touch. Like she was hurting me, to be honest with you. I wasn't, but I know they had to figure out what tooth it was. Well, they finally figured it out. It's the second to the back tooth up here. So it was actually the cold test is the one that told her. So definitively. I mean, she took like a ton of x-rays, but that was the one that really worked. Anyway, the clinic was very modern. They had, very modern equipment and, stuff. So I didn't have to pay anything on Thursday. I told her, I said, what do I owe you for today for the x-rays and the exam? And she said, well, just pay the next time you come in. So I'm going back on Tuesday. I will go back Tuesday, and what they're going to do, which this is not the part I'm dreading, but it's not fun. I have dental phobia, so none of this is fun. But I go back Tuesday, and she's going to remove the crown and really examine the tooth because she thinks it's really rotted under there. And if it is, then they can't save it. So I pretty much think that's what's going to happen. I think there's a very small chance they could even do a root canal. So she's going to do that. And then what she's going to do is kind of just temporarily reseal the tooth until I can get it like extracted or whatever. They do have an oral surgeon on staff there that comes in a couple of days a week to do it, oral surgery. So I can get that done there. It's going to be cheaper. If I get it extracted, of course, it's going to be cheaper than if I'd had a root canal and whatever. So I don't think it's going to be a ton of money. And I can certainly put it on my credit card for now. So, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to, I'm happy that it's kind of a back tooth, not all the way in the back, but I'm glad it's a tooth there. So it's not going to be noticeable if I have it extracted. No, I won't get an implant. I can't afford it. I just can't afford that. So I don't like getting teeth extracted. It's weird. Although I have teeth that are not super strong, I have really strong gums. And so what happens is they have a hard time getting teeth out of me. A lot of people, as they get older, their teeth get loose and stuff. But thank you, Cheryl. Very kind of you. But anyway, I don't have that kind of gums. My teeth are in there. I mean, they are in there. So I'm a little bit nervous more about the extraction than anything else. And so, I'm... And meanwhile, she did say that she didn't think the abscess was happening, but the tooth is dying. The pulp is dying. So she said that's why it's still like causing distress. But she said that if I have it extracted, they would give me antibiotics, for a couple of days before the extraction and then for a few days after, kind of thing. So yeah, it's something. I got to just go. I knew whatever I was going to do, but she seemed to be very thorough. She knew what she was talking about. Like I said, she spoke English fluently. And so I really felt like, this is how it is. So I'm going to the dentist Tuesday again. I'm expecting she's going to say, we can't save it. And I don't think they can, honestly. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, Carolina. Thank you so much. And thank you all about Dora. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. I love that emoji, Dora. That's so cute. It's wounded. Oh, speaking of cuteness, look who's here. She's been my comfort animal. She really has. So anyway, I'm going to talk all about my first things about Albania and stuff here in a second. But somebody else asked something I wanted to get back to. Let's see. Oh, Dora, it's your first super on a live stream too. Thank you so much. It always says I should celebrate that, so I'm celebrating that. Pam's asking what happened with my credit card thing. So you'll see in the video that comes out tomorrow that I did make it to the Tower of London. I didn't make it when I wanted to go, but yeah, that Monday, I should have gone this past Monday. And it was just a cluster that day. It's like that one card, they had it that my payment was pending, but it didn't show up till Tuesday morning, which, that's because of the holiday. So I couldn't really use it to get tickets, but I did manage to get tickets later Monday for Tuesday on another card that amazingly worked. And so I had the tickets, but see, Tuesday, you'll see it in the video tomorrow. Tuesday was not a great day to go because it was pouring rain. And so it was, I'm going to need to go back to the tower at some day when I get back to London because I just didn't see as much as I wanted to. But I got to ride the underground, the tube, and it was amazing and it was great and I love it. Like when I go back to London now, I'm like a tube fanatic. Like I love it. It's clean down there. It feels safe. People are nice. Just not at all like the New York subway system. Let me just put it that way. So anyway, I loved the tube. It got me there easily. I only had to change trains once. And yeah, so I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't enjoy the pouring rain at the tower. I probably should have gone to Westminster Abbey in retrospect, but you'll see it in the video tomorrow. I still shot a bunch of footage. And so anyway, let me scroll down here. No, I didn't go on any of the tour things. Like I said, I just couldn't do stuff at the tower that I would have if it wasn't. I mean, I even had to buy an umbrella at the gift shop because I didn't have I haven't had an umbrella on this trip. And I finally had to do it because there was no way I could have gone in the tower. It was raining hard. Like this wasn't just sprinkling. I had a raincoat on. But anyway, I ended up getting my back got wet, my purse in the front got wet. It was a whole thing over there at the tower. And it kind of, it was funny. It was kind of set the mood for the place because, the Tower of London generally was not a happy place. This was a place a lot of prisoners were held, executed, things like that. And so I actually got the vibe of the tower while I was there because I thought this is miserable. And so, and indeed it was. I will get to your question, Stella. Thank you for asking that. I'll talk about that in my, yeah. But I knew about all the stuff that had happened at the tower. I know about the history. So it was really thrilling to see the places. And make sure you watch tomorrow's video that comes out because you'll see my footage and then my commentary more fully about it. And so, Yeah. But I would love to go back on a nice day, when you can actually go and sit. They have all these lovely benches around, and you can just kind of sit and take in the space, and you can also wait in line to see the crown jewels, which people were doing in the pouring rain. And I was not doing that. I couldn't do it. So, I have to go back and see those. And, but I really did love it. I wish, well, hopefully get back to England or the UK in the end of September. So that's what I'm hoping. The ravens, I videoed a raven, but they were in the cages because of the rain. I don't know. Anyway, they're big. They're big. Okay, so yes, I'm in Albania, and let me give you some backstory to this. Okay. First of all, I have learned something about myself that I didn't realize for a long time. I mean, I was like this even when I was young. And so let me explain that I'm a person that loves to travel. I mean, well, I don't really love the traveling so much, but I do love, I love the being in new countries. Okay. So, but it takes me a few days to adjust. And during the adjustment period, I'm not okay. Like, I just say that, especially the first day I get there, I'm flipping out in my head. And I tell you, when I landed in Albania, culture shock almost immediately, like just culture shock. Because I mean, I'd seen videos, I'd read what people said, both good, bad, and indifferent, whatever, but I didn't have any idea till I was here. And so the thing that shocked me, it was like going back in time to me. There's a lot that looks about the city like the old Soviet Union bloc countries that I had been to during the time of the Soviet Union, that they looked like. And so I guess I expected, because Toronto was a capital city, I just thought it was going to be, I don't know. I just thought it was going to be different than it was. So it was a little bit of culture shock. I did check in with no problem to my little Airbnb type place, and it was fine. Like, I was so happy that the place is nice, and but it was just culture shock because even when we landed on the plane, it's like an old airport from the 70s, because you get off the plane and you got to go down the steps. And fortunately, a young man that was sitting on the aisle in my row was able to carry my carry-on bag down the steps, because I don't think I could have done that. I could get down the steps, but I couldn't have gone down the steps with my bag. So I had to ask for help. And then the airport's really tiny, and we had to wait a long time for the bags to get off the plane. But it was like the old days. I remember days flying that you go places and it was like that. So I guess I just wasn't expecting. And then I didn't realize the airport was outside of town, like a little ways. So I had to get a cab in, and then then I was told by the person that kind of oversaw the cabs there, that because I was hoping to find a cab driver that spoke English, because I was told by a lot of people that, oh, a lot of people speak English in Albania. Okay. No. I'm just telling you right now from my experience, the majority of people that I have encountered so far speak very little English. Okay. So, and I'm in a capital city. So the dentist's office did. I've probably run into a couple of other people at a restaurant that seem to speak okay English. I've gone in shops, they don't speak English. The cab drivers, I've only had one cab driver that spoke English somewhat. So the point is, I'm going to do my own study on this, because I'm in frickin' Tirana for the summer, and I will get back to you on my results, because I am making a notation of how many people I encounter actually speak enough English to communicate with in some way, because I just know they Duolingo does not offer Albanian. I am going to look up just some key phrases so that I know how to say hello, thank you, and please or whatever. But I'm like floored. Now, the people seem really nice. Don't get me wrong. I've been told that they are very nice and the people seem very nice, but I just know they do not speak French at all here, okay? They do speak Italian, some of them. My driver from the airport, I noticed that his GPS was speaking Italian. He spoke almost no English. And so I asked him in English, I said, "You speak Italian?" And he goes, "Si." And so I thought, well, darn, I don't know Italian. I know I can understand a little because my grandparents were Italian, but I don't speak Italian. So yeah, I think Italian is kind of their primary second language because they do a lot of Italians actually come over here. I think because they get cheap vacations, and there's a lot of people I think that are like have relatives that are either from Italy or Albania or wherever. So yeah. Anyway, I will get back to you on my informal study as an anthropologist of how many people in Toronto actually speak English. So, and Albanian is actually very close to Greek as a language. And I don't understand Greek, so it doesn't help. But it is related. Apparently, linguistically, it is related to Greek. So, yeah, I'll let you know. But yeah, the language thing so far has kind of flipped me out a bit. And even though all the stuff I read said, it said, oh, most of the young people in Albania speak English. Okay, well, I will say that most of the people that I have run across that do speak some English generally are younger. That's true. But most of the cab drivers are not young. So, but I would have thought, I guess I would have surprised me. I would have thought more cab drivers would speak some English because they get a lot of English or American tourists here, a lot. Like, I don't know. It just boggles my mind because I can understand in many countries, thinking, well, they should speak some of our language or whatever. Well, Albania is like, this is not until 20 years ago, people didn't even generally come here. This was part of that whole Soviet style bloc back until the early 90s, mid 90s, something like that. And then they had, the Balkan War, the Bosnian thing in the 90s. So people didn't even start coming here, I don't think, a lot until about 20 years ago. So, yeah, RGH says, yeah, I have to go to the coast. Yeah, I'm thinking the beach communities, maybe there's more English speaking there. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be fine. They don't seem to be offended when I speak English to them, even if they don't understand it. They don't get, it's not like in France where, they'd get offended if you didn't even try to speak English. They don't seem to be offended that I'm not speaking Albanian. Let's put it that way, which is good. So, anyway, I don't have a translation app that has Albanian on it, Sharon. I don't know if I haven't tried Google Translate yet, so maybe it does. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, hi guys, welcome in. Those of you who are joining in. Don't forget to hit that like button. I got it. It gave me close to over 200 here. Yeah, I think, Ciara, that's why the young people mainly are speaking English because they do offer it in school, apparently. And like today, I went to a restaurant for lunch. Everything is very cheap here. That is true. Absolutely true. And the food is good. There's a lot of Italian food. Again, it's the Italian influence. So they have a lot of Italian food. And then there's also a kind of a Greek influence because they serve like olives with your meal, and you always get like sliced tomatoes and cucumbers, and which is great. Like I had an omelet yesterday. Oh, and they're big on omelets. And I love omelets. I haven't been able to get frickin' omelets anywhere until I got here. So I'm really glad they have omelets. But good. Thank you, Nordic Light. They do have Albanian on Google Translate. Okay. I will use that with a taxi driver, let me tell you. Um, let's see what else. So I was kind of in shock. And plus, the next day I had to go to the dentist, and that was a whole thing trying to get the cab to find the place. And then, I had their address system is strange here. It's very strange. When you get an address for a place, it has like Ruga or Ruga. I don't know how to say it. It's Ruge. It's the name for like road or, whatever, road street. And then it always has like a name. All the streets have like a name, but they don't ever have an address of the building. They don't. And so even though these cab drivers know the city, every time you tell them where you have to go, they're like, I know, they'll say, oh, I know the street, which they don't really say that way. They, we kind of get through hand gestures a lot and stuff. But anyway, it's a challenge getting to a specific spot. Let me just put it that way. And no, a lot of it's not walkable, Sandra, unless you're, if I'd been smart, I would have picked a place to stay near the dental place I was going. But no, that's all the way kind of more in the center of town. And I'm not in the way the outskirts or anything, but it's a big city. I mean, it's a city. And so, no, it's not walkable. I'd be walking 45 minutes to get to the dentist from here. So, that's just too much for me. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm a little, I'm better now. I've been out every day. I go out and do a little more exploring. Today I made it to the grocery store. I went out and I'm only eating out like once a day for something, but just to give you an idea of how cheap it is, the cab rides are like the equivalent of about $7 to get to somewhere. Now, to get from the airport into town, it was like 22. But the cab rides in town are very cheap. So like $7, $6, something like that. And so the other thing that's cheap is food. Like I bet they will, Edie, they have GPS on their phones, but the point is we don't have a street number address, like a number on the street, because when they have their addresses listed, all these places, I even messaged the dental thing and said, what is your actual building number? Well, there is none. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's very, very confusing. So anyway, the cheapness of everything. Yeah. So like I ate out yesterday and had an omelet for lunch. I had an omelet. I had a brioche. I had the veg, I had tomatoes and cucumbers and olives with it and a beverage. And it was like equivalent of $7 for that. So very inexpensive, the polar opposite of London in that respect. I don't know, Sandra, how they get mail. That's the thing that confuses me. I mean, if you go online and you look up a business in Tirana, it'll give you that street name, and then it'll give you like a postal code and then Tirana, but it doesn't give you an actual building number. I don't understand it. I'm puzzled. And the cab drivers, they don't seem to be upset about it. They just, so I've already figured out that I find a landmark that I know they will know where it is. And then I will just tell them that. I will just say, so I already know there's like a really nice hotel just a block from my dental office. So I'm just going to tell them, just go to that. They knew me. They said, oh, the cab drivers should know how to get here. We're a well-known dental clinic. Like, okay, well, I don't understand that in a city. I do get that, Dara, in like a rural area. Yeah, I get it there, but I don't get it in a city like this. Anyway. Yeah, but again, John Mark, this is not a rural area. This is a major city. It's a capital city. How do they not have street numbers? I mean, not street numbers, building numbers. So I'm like even worried about like now I know the trick to get to my dental office, which is the only reason I'm using a cab is to get there and back because it's just too far to walk. And when I switch places in 2 weeks, I will have to get a cab to go to the new place because that's also not, especially with my luggage, is not walkable. So I'm not taking cabs all the time. I'm only doing it. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just staying within a walkable radius of wherever I'm staying. And I'm staying in three different areas in Tirana, so I'll be able to see a lot of the city. Yeah, there are some famous landmarks that I'm going to get to, probably not until after I have this whole extraction done. But I'm going to go to they have a castle, a Tirana castle, and then they have a major park, like really huge park in the city. They have some smaller parks as well. I don't honestly see a ton of parks, not like I did like in London or, something like that. But there's a huge park, and they actually have a zoo in the city. So I might go to that eventually. So they don't have a train system, Sierra. They have buses, but that's going to take a while for me to even attempt a bus since I don't speak the language. I'll be honest. I can guarantee you the bus drivers do not speak English. I can just guarantee that. So far, I've liked the food, but I mean, I've not had a lot so far here. I mean, did I go out? Yeah. Okay. I've had 2 omelets at 2 different restaurants, both incredibly good. And they have like a local type of cheese, which is different. I've never had it before, but it's really good. I'd say it's close to feta cheese, like Greece has, but it's not quite as strong as feta cheese. Um, and then today I went to an Italian restaurant and I had pasta, which was delicious. It was rigatoni in kind of a cream sauce with little bits of bacon that was like very, well cooked, but little cubes of bacon. And then really good like Parmesan or Reggiano or whatever cheese, whatever. I don't remember what they call that, but really good cheese. And again, today's lunch was, and it was at a nice place. And with the pasta and the drink, it was still like $8, I think, for lunch. So anyway, the food's wonderful. I probably, at least until I, figure out, oh, it might have been pecorino cheese. Yeah, Bebs. It was really good. Very good. Need more chocolate talk. Yeah, they have chocolate here. I've had some. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're the chocolate capital. I'll just put it that way. I did have wonderful Cadbury bars in the UK, which are so much better than the Cadbury bars in the US, because they're made differently now. We used to get Cadbury in the US that was actually imported from the UK. But then they changed it, and then they actually manufacture it in the US, or they make the bars, and they're different now. So, yeah. Let's see. No, I'm not I don't drink, John Mark. Thanks. Oh, I wanted to tell you, I mean, you're going to see footage of it. I guess Wednesday. I took some video of the flight down here, but I will tell you it was a lovely flight. No big issues. And I don't know, I seem to have turned a corner on the whole flying thing. I mean, I'm never going to love flying. Let me just put it that way. I'm never going to go, oh, wow, I want to fly all the time. But no, I enjoyed it. And we had a really chatty pilot, and I love chatty pilots when they come on and they love to talk to the passengers. But we had really bad turbulence over the Alps. But didn't bother me because I learned a trick a long time ago. The turbulence is the one thing that generally doesn't, I mean, if I ever was in like really severe something, it probably would bother me, but it doesn't normally bother me because long time ago, even when, I still had fears overall about flying, I had somebody tell me anytime there's turbulence, just close your eyes and imagine yourself driving down a bumpy country road, like with potholes and stuff like that. And it works. I just close my eyes and pretend I'm going down a bumpy road. So, yeah, that's what helps me a lot. So, and it was so cool because the pilot comes on. You guys will love this story. The pilot comes on. I didn't tell this in the video. The pilot comes on when we're having the bad turbulence, and I couldn't figure it out because you couldn't see the Alps. There was like a cloud cover underneath us, so you couldn't tell we were going over the Alps. And he came on and he says, "Oh, I just want to reassure." He was British. He goes, "I just want to reassure everyone that we're having really severe turbulence because there's a lot of winds, high winds here. We're over the Alps and the wind currents are really strong." And he says, "They're actually helping push us along." He says, "But I don't want you to worry." He says, the aircraft is designed to deal with this and we're going to be fine." And so he said that. And then somebody behind me said something like, "Well, I wasn't worried until you said that." It cracked me up. Anyway, yes, it was a full plane. Every seat was taken. It was crazy. It was such a full plane. I would say a lot of them were Albanians, probably coming back. Maybe they had gone on holiday to the UK or something. And there were also a decent number of, British people. The young man that was sitting to my right, I actually chatted with him a bit the last part of the flight, and he was with a whole bunch of friends, and they were going to be renting a car and driving around. So anyway, he was really nice. He helped. Well, he took my luggage or my carry-on down the steps for me. Thank goodness. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think the planes, well, they only have 2 direct flights to Albania from London a day. One's I took the early morning one, and then they have one in the mid-afternoon or something. So anyway, it was a good flight. The nice thing is that they have a direct flight from Tirana to some spots in Europe. So which is nice. Yeah. Oh, they had a glacier collapse. Did they have it Wednesday, Connie? It was funny. The pilot was so cute about it. It was like he was trying to reassure everybody, but strangely enough, it was having the opposite effect with some passengers, I think, because they were like, "Why is he trying to tell us the plane's not going to break apart up here?" Anyway, yeah. Oh no, it was long after that. Well, it was Wednesday, so Connie, so oh, it swallowed a town in Switzerland? That's a serious collapse. Wow. Oh, that's not good. Anyway, yeah, apparently they were having, I guess, strong winds or something through there, but it only lasted about 20 minutes, and then we were fine. And the rest of the flight was nice, so no problem. Yeah, glad the wings didn't fall off. But this pilot you know what he reminded me of? I don't think I ever told you. I think maybe I told you this story, but I'm going to tell you the story again. One of the most amazing plane trips I ever took in my life was actually before I started being massively afraid of flying. Because even though my father had died in a helicopter crash, which is kind of what started my fear of flying, but it was a helicopter, not a plane. But anyway, I flew okay throughout my teenage years. I'd fly back and forth from college when I was up in Milwaukee and stuff. But anyway, when I was in the Peace Corps and I left the Peace Corps, they sent me back across the U.S. Or across the ocean and it was in the early part of February in 1978. And I think I may have told this story on here, but we were in an old Boeing 707, which were like tanks. They were built like tanks. Those planes were amazing. And they weren't a wide body by today's standards, but it was like a wide body for that time. And so anyway, we were flying from Dakar, Senegal, and we were supposed to land in New York. Midway across the Atlantic, past the point of no return, like they'll send a plane back if something happens, like the weather changes or there's a problem, whatever. Anyway, and so no, I'm not a hippie, Meryl. No, I've never been a hippie. But anyway, so we were coming back across, and the plane was not very full. I remember that. I had a row, like of 3 seats, and I was the only one in the row. So a lot of people had that, and we could just literally lay down and, kind of sleep. And but midway across the Atlantic, the pilot comes on, and he was probably, I know he was an older guy because we met him as we got off the plane, and he had flown in like World War II. I mean, these were these old pilots that really knew their stuff. So anyway, I wasn't slamming hippies, Dennis. I just said I was never one. So, but anyway, so he comes on and goes, I've just been notified that we don't have a place to land. Everybody in the plane, which there was probably only like 50 of us on the whole plane, we're like going, what? He goes, well, there's a major snowstorm. This was the major snowstorm that hit the East Coast of the United States since February of 1978. Look it up. It was crazy. And we just happened to be one of a handful of flights that they couldn't stop in time. And so they had to find us a place to land. We couldn't go back. And so we couldn't land in New York. We couldn't land in Boston. We couldn't land in Philadelphia. Of course, it's an international flight, so we had to go to a major, international airport. We couldn't land in DC. We couldn't even land in Atlanta. That's how bad the snowstorm was. And so they were desperately but the pilot kept coming on, kind of like this guy on the flight Wednesday, kept coming on and like reassuring us and telling us it's going to be okay. I'm going to get you guys in. And they ordered free drinks for everybody for the rest of the flight. Everybody, and I even drank something. I have to tell you, I drank something on that flight because it was crazy. And we were all just trying to pray while we were drinking. So anyway, we were on fumes. I mean, we landed on fumes. They finally, at the last minute, opened the airport in Detroit, which probably had more snow than anywhere. But they had good, equipment to clear the airport, and they cleared the airport, the runway, just enough that we could land, just for our plane. We were the only plane that came in, and we literally couldn't have had any fuel left. I have no idea how the pilot got us there. But anyway, we landed on ice because they couldn't de-ice the whole runway. We landed on ice. The plane skidded sideways. And we're just all like, we hope we make it. Anyway, we finally, he somehow straightened it out. We came to a stop eventually before the end of the runway, and we all just started crying. And when we got off the plane, everybody hugged the pilot. He came out to hug everybody individually because the guy was amazing. He got us there. So anyway, it was an amazing journey. So anyway, this pilot Wednesday kind of reminded me of the personality of that pilot that day, because he just kept coming on every 15 minutes and letting us know the update. And he goes, he says, well, they're trying to get us to go to Miami, but it's just not going to work with our trajectory, where our flight path is. And anyway, that was a good story. That flight did not make me afraid of flying, because that actually made me feel more confident that a good pilot, was going to handle it. Right. It was years after that I started getting more and more afraid. So, yeah. Anyway, Jackie. Yeah, Jackie, I went to college my first 2 years as an undergraduate at Marquette University in Milwaukee. So that's why I was flying back and forth for a while from there. But anyway, okay. Yes, we hugged him at the end, and he was an older guy. I mean, this would have been in 1978. He was probably in his 50s, late 50s. So he could have flown in World War II. Absolutely. I mean, he probably was a really young pilot, but um, yeah, they were really well trained, and they knew how to. I mean, my dad was a pilot, and helicopters he never liked, which is so interesting that that's how he died, because he never liked helicopters. He said they were unsafe, and he was right. But planes, his attitude was a good pilot can usually bring a plane down if there's any engine problem or anything like that, they can bring a plane down. So my dad always, and you know, it's weird. I want to share with you something that when I was on that plane Wednesday, and the weird thing is, there's something about flying I love, actually, which is, and I've always loved it. It's kind of like I forgot it for a long time because I was so afraid to fly. But I actually love being up in the air, looking down at the earth. Like, I just love that sensation. It just feels so amazing to me. And I'm sure that's what my father felt, because he had been a pilot since he was 16 years old. And he loved that. He just loved that sensation of just flying through the air. And I actually like it. I always sit by a window because I love looking out. And the only thing that still just gets me is those few seconds at takeoff when the plane lifts off from the ground and you get that sinking feeling for a second. It's the only thing I still don't like. But yeah. Anyway, that's my story about that. So anyway, let me take some other questions you guys have about what's going on. I've covered a lot of things. And yeah, I just love it. And I even like, believe it or not, I've even flown in planes through thunderstorms and actually liked that, which is weird. But I just don't like the whole idea that something could go wrong on the plane. It's the crashing I don't want. That's what I'm afraid of, is the crashing. I'm not afraid of the actual process of what's happening. So anyway. Yeah, Laura, see, you remember the storm of 78. There you go. See? And you didn't know till today that I was one of a handful of planes that had to land in a city on ice during that storm. So, oh, well, the weekend, it's already Saturday evening. So I don't have much weekend left. I'm just resting and also getting the lay of the land. I go out for a couple of 2-3 hours and just, I kind of get to know my neighborhood. I'm not in a great part of Tirana. Like, I went to the main part of the city on Thursday because that's where my dental office was. And I really there really are some nice areas of Tirana. But where I'm at, it's okay. It's not a horrible area, but it's not like the best area. So I'd say this is very much not a touristy area at all. It's, when I'm walking around out there, it feels like most people are, from here. So maybe in the touristy area, more people will speak English too. So, I will be doing this study ongoing for the next few weeks. So let's see. Any other questions you guys have? We'll go about 15 minutes more or something. Jean-Marc, you can't really compare it. It's different. I know this technically is Europe, but it doesn't feel like Europe to me. It feels like I have not been staying in such like a foreign feeling place. Because see, France didn't feel foreign to me. UK didn't feel foreign to me. This feels different. Like, this is definitely, and I think a lot of it's the language, but it's also just, I can feel the difference in the culture and the fact that, we're not, the old saying, we're not in Kansas anymore kind of feeling, so I can't compare apples and oranges. I will have to stay here longer and see what I think of it in general. I wouldn't say I have, like, the only thing I've been disappointed in is that I'm not, enough people aren't speaking English that it makes me comfortable. Like, because, it's very hard to learn Albanian, and most people who come here, they don't learn Albanian just to be here for a visit, even if it's for a couple of months. So it's not like other languages where it's a lot easier to learn the language and you can, stay there and whatever. So we'll see. I don't hate it or anything. I absolutely don't. I mean, believe me, I was in the Peace Corps in West Africa. I've been in worse places in my life. So it's not even comparison to that. So Una asks if the people are friendly. So far, I mean, they really are. I mean, even when there's a language barrier with us, they try to be helpful. You know what I mean? And there's people smile at you here, which again, not really, that wasn't happening in France. That wasn't happening in the UK. But here people do smile at you, and they do like smile on the street to people. So, yeah, they seem friendly. They seem perfectly fine. I haven't had anybody be really nasty to me yet at all. So, but I think it's like people everywhere that you're going to find great people everywhere and you're going to find nasty people everywhere. That's just the way the world works. You can't generalize and say, "Oh, all the people from this country are amazingly wonderful people." Like it's just not realistic. There are not nice people everywhere in the world. So, and there are wonderful people everywhere in the world, and there are a lot of people in between. So, no, Anna, I have to look into, I really would like to meet up with some. I had one viewer that contacted me because she's in Albania, but she was only going to be in Tirana till tomorrow. And I just said, I just can't meet up before then. She's going over to the coast, to Durrës, which is a coastal city for, I think, the rest of her time here. And so I said, if she comes back to Tirana to let me know. But like I said, I take the first few days to kind of adjust because especially in a country that's this different to me, I didn't really have to adjust to the UK. That was not, an issue. But I think it's just having to adjust to a new place. And so, yeah, but I do hope, as soon as I figure out, like after I go to the dentist Tuesday, I'm going to see what I have to have done. But I would like to, find some communities of people or people that are living here that are Americans and maybe find a way to get together or something, even if they're not viewers or anything, just people that are living here. So, yeah. Yeah, I think it was Dennis. Um, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this. I seem to remember that Albania was somehow connected to China at some point, though. I don't think they were part of Yugoslavia. They were just like I think Montenegro was, which is just the country to the north here. But I think no, Yugoslavia was more than Croatia. They covered a lot of the Balkan peninsula, but I don't think Albania was part of it. I seem to think they were connected to China. Does anybody else know anything about that? Because I seem to remember that from back in the 70s or the 80s. Um, anyway. Yeah, well, a lot of the Balkans, Darius, was part of that war in the 90s. That's what I mean. This country, well, the whole everything, even Croatia and stuff, they didn't really come into their own until after that whole, the conflict in the 90s was going on over here. So even if they weren't directly involved, like Bosnia and Serbia and stuff like that. So yeah. No, I think it was connected to China, but I don't really know why. I think what it was is I think they had some kind of relation. China was helping them or something economically. And it was a communist country. It was. That's why I said it reminds me a lot of the old Soviet bloc countries because it was a communist country. I know that, but I'm just not sure how they were affiliated because I, never really studied the history of this particular area. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll be learning more about it while I'm here. I got plenty of time. I will let you know. Hopefully, I will be, I will, learn a lot by the time I leave here. So, yeah. Well, China, it's interesting. China has, under Mao Zedong, which is when China was like, that was the early communist period of their since the 1930s, and China had they had people all around the world because even when I was in West Africa, hi Teffy Club, welcome in to my moderator. Um, even even when I was in the Peace Corps in the 70s, they had Chinese, like, people from China there helping the people with agricultural stuff. And like, I don't remember specifically was, but they were doing that to have influence. It was kind of like all the countries. I mean, US has done it, European countries have done it. They would send people from their own country to that country to help, but then you also have influence over them in some way. So, okay, here we go. Gary shared. Yeah, see, I knew I wasn't crazy about this. Albania and the People's Republic of China established diplomatic relations on November 23rd, 1949. And Albania so they had like some close connection after that for like a number of years. And probably, I guess, still do. Anyway, we'll learn more as we go along. I guess so, but you know what? I don't get a real strong Islamic feel here because I've seen fewer people here, like women who are wearing like headscarves and things like that. I'm seeing fewer of them here than I did in the UK. So I'm just saying, or even in France, actually. So I don't know. Maybe it's Muslims that don't, wear certain, garb. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to say something ignorant that I don't know about. So I just know I am seeing fewer women with headscarves here. Okay. Any other last minute questions? Your phone is empty. You mean of power, Bubble Mix? Thank you, Wanda, for your good wishes. Well, I'm getting there. I'll feel a lot better when the tooth gets pulled and that particular episode is gone. I am probably going to have this dental place go ahead, and I know I need a filling, I think, in the back part of one of my front teeth, and I need to have that done while I'm here because it's cheaper and I might as well do it. So I am going to get a little bit of extra work done, probably just essentials. Hopefully nothing major else. Fortunately, it only seems to be one tooth that's dying, basically, so that's good. No, they actually wear headscarves in France, John Mark. They do. They they did in Dijon, I can tell you that, and they also did in Perpignan. So yeah, I know what you're saying, though. I remember that they were talking. I guess it's certain type of garb. I don't think it's just having a scarf on your head. I think I think they have some sort of laws about like the complete hijab or other types of clothing. So, okay. Anyway, why Albania? Well, I had to get out of the Schengen zone, Louise. It's not hard to explain at all. Two parts to that. A, I had to get out of the Schengen zone for 90 days, and the UK was too expensive to stay in. And second of all, I needed dental work because of my abscess emergency a few weeks ago. So that's why I'm here. It's kind of a forced exile, I guess is the way to say it. But it's okay. It's like I'm learning. I mean, this is the most exotic country I've been to since I was in Africa. So you know what? I'm learning something. It'll be all right. It's affordable, which I appreciate. So yeah. Well, yeah, Nordic Light. They're probably going to remove the tooth. So Well, Darius, Cyprus is further to go. You know, you have to fly over there. It's an island. I just felt more comfortable coming here right now. I would like to go to Cyprus someday, but so anyway. No, new me. I don't read the comments afterwards. I try to get through them as during the live stream, but I know I still miss them. So let's see. Albert Camus was from here? I thought he was French. Stellar. He was not French? He wrote in French? No, I'm not. I don't really do Facebook, but I have a Facebook. I just don't really, I'm not active on it. So I could look it up there. Thanks, Ciara. Yellowstone. I don't know what you mean by that, Terry. Yeah, but Malta's in the Schengen zone, so I couldn't go there. I probably would have gone to Malta because they're English speaking and it's an island, but it's beautiful and it's like comfortable, but it's a little more pricey too. But I mean, than here, it's not as pricey as the UK. I don't think any place I've ever been has been as pricey as the UK. And I mean London in particular. So yeah, but I wasn't going to go to Morocco in the summer, Dara. That would have been brutal. It's going to be hot enough here, but I just thought if I go to Morocco in the summer, I will literally be staying in my place and never going out because it's just going to be so hot. So yeah. So Petula France says he was French. Yeah, he was Algerian or he went to Algeria. Yeah, he wasn't Albanian. Yeah. Oh, hang on. I got to catch see this. Who said this? Oh, hang on. Yeah, Camus. Teffy says it too. That's what I thought. Camus. Yeah, and that would make sense. Algeria was a French colony at one time, so that makes sense that he would have been from there. I'm not close to a beach, Lady Hetfield. I think it's only about an hour away to take a bus over there, though. I might do that some point this summer, just for a couple of days, just stay in a hotel for a couple of days over there. But because I would like to go by the ocean or what's the Adriatic. But no, I'm the whole summer in Albania, Nordic Light. Just the whole freaking summer, unless my channel blows up again in July or something, and I can afford to go to the UK in August or something back because I could fly back to the UK, but I can't afford to. So yeah, I'm here. I have a place to stay till I think I can go back in the Schengen zone as of August 23rd. So yeah. Yeah, is that it, Laura? Lori says Tirana experienced a lack of street numbers and a confusing address system due to its communist past and subsequent rapid growth. Yeah, but see, that I didn't expect. Nothing I read told me that they were going to have a weird address system. So that's been a bummer, especially to try to take taxis places. So yeah. It's warm. It's definitely summer here already. Today it was the high was 80 degrees this afternoon. It felt comfortable. I mean, I was out walking it around. It was fine, but it will get up into the 90s, the low 90s apparently. So I don't think it gets over 100 here though. I didn't, unless they're in a freak heat wave. Jean-Marc, why do you want me to drink? Oh, it's your birthday, Meryl? Well, happy birthday. And Lady Hetfield says her birthday is August 23rd. Yeah, somebody else said it's mostly a Christian nation. Yeah, I don't know. I will do my own. I will figure it out. I will learn more as I'm here. Yes, I know more younger people will probably speak it, English. It does seem like Greece a little bit. The people even look a little Greek to me. They really do. I mean, there's just kind of a look, especially to the men, that reminds me, even though I've never been in Greece, I've seen people from Greece, and for some reason they do seem, it seems very closely, but that makes sense. I mean, geographically, they're just north of Greece here, so it makes total sense. Yes, hit the like button if you have not already done so. Oh, yes, Janet. Now that does freak me out a bit. There are stray animals here, apparently cats and dogs, and I have seen some stray dogs. They have not been a problem. They actually seem very lethargic. They're they're not doing much. They're not like, barking at you or whatever, but I've heard that a lot of these animals have rabies. So this does concern me a bit. there, there are loose dogs with rabies. So, yeah. Yeah, Patricia says she's been learning Greek, much harder to learn. Yeah, and I think Albanian is related to Greek, so it's a similar kind of thing. So, no, Jean-Marc, no horse and carts in the street. I don't think that's likely in the capital. I don't think, Susan. I'm going to learn some basic, phrases, and I will use my Google Translate. Honestly, I don't see that I would probably ever live here. Honestly, I don't think this is a place I would feel like I'd want to live long term. So that's a lot of work to try to learn a language, at least, for just a few weeks or, 10 weeks or whatever. So we'll see. But I am going to learn some basic things just to be courteous and, I know I could stay a year, Janet, but I don't know. I don't know. Stranger things could happen. Maybe I'll just, fall in love with Albania. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much. I don't know what the crown symbols are. What are you talking about, Linda? What crown symbols? Yeah, I would not feed the stray dogs, Patricia. Yeah, and not here. But like I said, they've seemed very lethargic. The only ones I've seen, and I can tell they're probably strays, they don't have a collar on. And they're usually just laying down somewhere by the side of the street or something like that. And, they're not barking at anybody. They're not. So as long as it's like that, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Oh, it's a membership thing, Jean. Oh, okay. I don't, yeah, I just noticed it on Jean-Marc's thing. It says crown number 1. Oh, you're rating on the channel. I'd never seen that before. And Great Zaza is now crown number 3. I honestly, have you guys ever seen these before? I haven't seen these before. Huh. I didn't do that. I don't know. YouTube does that. I don't know what that, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Huh. No, I don't think I'm in the gypsy area. They don't seem to be gypsies. But it is not it's not really a touristy area. There's the street I'm on is a major street in the city. So, but it's not, like I said, when you go a little bit south of here is more like the nicer area of the city, and stuff like that. And that's where my dental office is down more in that area. And I think the third Airbnb I'm staying at, the one I'm staying at the longest, I think is in that area. So I think I'm going to enjoy that a lot better. I think it's going to be, there are probably more people that speak English in that area to more easily. So I think that'll be fine. Yeah, these crown. Now, see, Nakoti has a number 1. I didn't start a membership thing. It's not, I don't have memberships on YouTube. I think it's a rating for maybe how much you comment or something, or I don't know what it is. You're, oh, it was part, okay, Old Silver says it was part of the latest YouTube upgrade. Yes, Connie. Connie points out something that I did not. I just read that today and I did not understand that. Yes and no are interchangeable head movements. So I went in this one mini mart the day I got here to just get like an extra bottle. You definitely cannot drink the water out of the tap here. I'm just saying, they warnings about that. But so I went to get a bottle of water and I was at this mini mart and I asked the guy, because he said, I said hello and I said, do you speak English? And he kind of went, like, so. But I said, oh, do you take euros? Because, a lot of the stuff I read ahead of time said, oh, you can use euros or the lek, which is their normal currency. Well, that's kind of misleading too. I went ahead and got regular currency when I went to the cash machine because I think places prefer that. The cab drivers will take euros. But anyway, when I went in, I said, oh, do you take euros? And he goes like this. But that no means yes in Albania. So I was confused because apparently I could have used euros and I didn't know that. Anyway, that's just funny. So yeah. So yes, if they do this, it can mean no. And if they do this, it can mean yes. So it's a real blow. It blows your mind a little bit when you realize that. So yeah. Joel, the currency in France is the euro, as it is through a lot of Europe. So yeah. Anyway, I love Letty Hetfield. I like the emoji there. Yeah, I think it's the more you comment, the more crowns you collect, Arabella. Exactly. Yeah. So see, Mimi became crown number 2 now. Oh, they do that in India too, Susan? Okay. That's funny. Yeah, it's really, so now I'm like, oh, I get it. I don't know why I didn't know that. So Janice, I went over that at the beginning of the live stream. I already saw the dentist, but I'm going back on Tuesday. So I'll give you guys an update next weekend. So you have to comment for more crowns. Well, that's a kind of interesting phenomenon that YouTube is doing to try to just get people to comment more. So that's cool. I didn't do that, people. That's just a YouTube thing. Yeah. And Cody says, I feel like I'm in a horse race now. Yeah. Don't let it get to you guys. Don't totally get like obsessed with that, please. You want them crowns so bad. Yeah, Janet, the stray population, yeah, it really, I didn't realize that. I knew that, like, I'd already knew about Georgia, the country, because I'd seen a lot of videos from there, and that was another option. Again, further to fly and everything else, but I could have gone to Georgia because they also allow you to stay as an American for a year. And but they have the same thing. They have the stray dogs and stuff. And the problem is a lot of them can have rabies and stuff. And so if for some reason one bites you, you're in big trouble because we don't really want to go through that. That's certainly true. Robinar says the YouTube would give me a clown. Joel, I always try to make the best of a situation. I do. I'm telling you, it's been a culture shock. I'm adjusting. I'm not there yet. I get a little more used to it every day I go out a little bit, but I would be lying if I told you that, oh yeah, I was fine the minute I got here. Like, no, it's a culture shock. It really is. Barbara M. Oh, they have no Ubers here at all. So you have to do it. And they have tons of taxis, tons. You call the taxis. There's an app, which I used one time, but that actually took a lot longer. The easier way to do taxis is there's just taxi stands in a lot of places on major roads and stuff. Just go and there'll always be some taxis at a taxi stand. You just find the nearest taxi stand. It's actually the easiest way to do it. I tried the app for it, and it took forever for the driver to get there, and it didn't really, didn't really help anything. It's the same price. I mean, they all charge you fairly. It doesn't seem like anybody's trying to, get more money from you. So, anyway. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. They do appreciate having some kind of tip here. But things are so inexpensive, and the suggested tip is only like 10% maximum. So I've been doing that. I've given a small tip with my meal. So you're not supposed to necessarily tip taxi drivers, though. Interestingly, that's what I already found out some stuff while I've been here. So yeah. Yes, it does feel better to be back on cash, Anna. You know that I prefer that. So I have no idea, Una. Let's hope. I'm sure there are murderers everywhere, but let's hope not a lot. Um, Lady Hetfield, trust me, I'm not getting a preventative rabies vaccine. I've had rabies preventative vaccines when I was in the Peace Corps. Nobody wants to get those. They're just as painful as the regular rabies shot. So, worst shot I've ever had in my life was a rabies preventative vaccine. So, no, we don't do that. The irony of that is when I was in the Peace Corps, we got a rabies vaccine. We had to get a series of 3. I will tell you, I will close on this story, guys, because this is an amazing story. But we had tons of shots and all that stuff. But anyway, the only point of getting the rabies vaccine was that if you did get bit by a rabid bat or dog or something in Africa, you would need less of the shots as a treatment for it than you normally would. Like, you still get the shots, like in your abdomen, but you don't have to have as many. Okay. Well, the rabies vaccine that they put in your arm to prevent is the most painful shot I've ever had in my life. And I went to get the first shot, and I was with a guy that he and I were both Peace Corps volunteers, and we went over there together to get our shot. He said, "Oh, I'll go first," and he never came out of the doctor's office. And then the nurse came out and said, this was the Peace Corps doctor. And the nurse comes out and goes, okay, we can do your shot now. And I said, well, where did Greg go? That was the guy's name. I said, where did Greg go? And they said, oh, he passed out and he's resting. And I'm like, what? So apparently, so I go back there and I see him laying on a gurney, and he's white as a sheet, Greg. And I said to the doctor, what's with this shot? And so the doctor, who was a wonderful doctor, he actually, about a month after this happened, he's the one that really saved my life when I had cholera and almost died in the Peace Corps. So the doctor said to me, he goes, well, I'm going to be honest with you. He goes, this is the most painful shot you will ever have in your entire life. And I went, really? So, when you get it, not like afterwards when you get a sore arm or anything. No, when you get the shot. So I sat there on the gurney and I thought, oh gosh, am I going to end up like Greg? And the doctor, and I don't have a fear of needles or anything. I've never been freaked out about shots. Okay, let me just say that. Well, anyway, he gives me the vaccine in this arm. And all I can tell you is that when that vaccine material hit my tissue in my arm, it felt like somebody was cutting my arm off. It was the worst pain I've ever felt from a shot. And it lasted even after he finished it. The pain took a few minutes to subside at all. And that's what made Greg pass out, apparently, because he wasn't ready for that. Anyway, I had to help Greg back. We had to get a cab back to the place we were all staying at because he couldn't walk very well. He was pretty shaken up the whole night. But I don't remember having any bad after effect from the shot. Like, I didn't remember getting sick from it or anything. But when they put that in, you think somebody's cutting your arm off. That's the only way I can describe it. So that's the same kind of sensation that you get if you get the shots, if you get rabies, or if you've been bit by a rabid animal. but you get them in your abdomen. Can you even imagine that for a second? I'm sorry if some of you have like shot phobia, but no, that's why I'm a little nervous about the rabies here. So just, oh my God. Oh my God. So anyway, Diana, yeah, you know what? I had a cholera vaccine and I still got cholera. So I don't remember. The only shot I remember making me really super sick, and actually I've had it twice in my life, and they told me when I went in the Peace Corps and they gave it to me, they said, don't ever get this shot again. You don't have a good reaction to this shot. It's the typhoid vaccine, not tetanus, but typhoid, for typhoid fever. They just said to me, don't ever get this shot again, because I got so sick from that. That's the only vaccine I've ever had that did that to me. So, yeah. Yes, HFC. I actually wanted to get the shingles vaccine, Shingrix, before I left the US, but I did not. So if I go back this fall, I'm going to make sure I get that. So anyway, we'll get off the shot thing. So I just had to tell you the funny story about poor Greg. And we still had to have 2 more of those. I didn't go with him the next time, so I don't know how he handled it, but we had to get 2 more of those shots. So can you imagine? Oh my God. Anyway, okay, well, listen, I think we'll wrap it up. We've been going, see, it's weird. It's the same pattern I've had every live stream, that the first like 5 minutes, the feed doesn't, it freezes. And then when I go back in and do a new one, all of a sudden it's fine. I don't understand that. The same thing has happened in 3 different countries. So I have no idea, Jelly Bean, how much an implant costs. I know it's less than in the US or France or whatever, but it's still not cheap. I would think if I had an implant, it's still going to cost me probably about $1,000 here. That's my guess. So anyway, yeah, I'm not petting any stray dogs. In fact, I'm not petting any dogs here. I'm sorry, just not doing it. Oh, Lucy, yeah, she wanted to chime in again. Thank you for asking her. Yeah, she's very glad that she's not out. She's a little scared of the rabbit animals. She's just a tiny llama. She doesn't want to get bit by a rabid dog. And they might want to grab onto her. They think she's a toy or something, like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Lucy's very happy to, there, you can see her little top of her ear there. That's funny, Donna. Yeah, I don't want to get Shingrix in the Schengen zone. Yeah, that's good. Your son has a helpful comment. Oh. Oh, yeah, Susan. I know implants are expensive in the US and the UK, even in France. Yeah. Yeah. A spray bottle, is that what the suggestion was for animals? Yeah, I just keep giving them a wide berth. I mean, they're not packs of them roaming around, because I think if you're in smaller areas, like in villages and stuff, there's actually more of them roaming around the countryside, because that's what happens in Georgia, in the country of Georgia. So I'm guessing it's similar here. In the city, it doesn't seem to be a big problem. So now it might be if I had a dog, because, a lot of times dogs will bark or go after other dogs more than they would a person. So anyway, they may, Una, keep it clean. Keep it clean. Okay. Anyway. Oh, Susan Wood, Susan Wood won the horse race. Dog repellent sound device. I can't get Amazon here. I know a bunch of people said, oh, you can get Amazon here. No. There's like a couple of categories of items they might ship to Albania, but apparently it takes forever to get here. No, there's no shopping on Amazon here. So don't suggest it, please. Anyway, thank you, Teffy. Thank you for being my mod today. Let's do a last minute push for likes if you haven't hit the like button yet. Yes, thank you. I know it's my 3rd country since I've been over here. I was supposed to have gone to more already, but hey, it's still, and it is a new country for me, like the UK was. So I think I'm up to 20 countries I've been to in my life. now. I think I hit number 20. Yeah, I doubt I get, it's hard to get mail here, I've understood. Even if you get mail sent here, it can be delayed, like you don't get it quickly. So, no, I'm just not relying on any of that. Yes, Turkey does have dental tourism as well. I know. Um, Donna says the dogs are all over Greece too, harmless, very lazy. Yeah. I don't know if people are feeding them at all. They don't seem to be skin and bones, so I'm assuming somebody may give them food. I don't know. Anyway, thank you all guys for being here. I hope you have a wonderful coming week, and don't forget to watch my video tomorrow. It's on the going to the Tower of London and riding the Underground. So, but all of you have a wonderful week. I'll be back here next I'll be in the same Airbnb next Saturday. So I will be here. I'll have more info for you on how things went, and I'll be making more videos. So just to, things that happen or impressions of things or, just motivational things. I'll be sharing a lot of stuff. Yes, hugs to you, Teffy, and namaste too. Yes, have a wonderful, wherever you are in your part of the world, have a wonderful week. And I wish you all the best. And I really appreciate you spending part of your Saturday. I'm glad we're kind of back on Saturdays. I am. I kind of like the Saturday again. So anyway, have a wonderful time. Lucy says, bye. Adios. Au revoir. And I don't know how to say it in Albanian. So anyway, have a wonderful week, everybody. Take care. Bye.